have two buildings that are ready to go to get people back in, get people rehoused. And they are ready, they should be ready for finals in the next week to 2 weeks.
Which two buildings are those?
720 Green and 721 Clark.
720 Green. And which one?
721 West Clark.
We still have building permits that have not been pulled or suspended. Well, there's no buildings. No work that needs to be done.
Is the landlord aware, the owner aware of the permits that need to be pulled?
The landlord has pushed back on a lot of the permits that need to be pulled, saying they do not need them for drywall repair and for electrical repair. And we have indicated to the property manager, who has agreed with us, that they do need to pull those permits, but the landlord is not being cooperative.
Okay. Let's just deal with 720 Green and 721 West Clark. Mary, you're indicating that there are permits that would need to be pulled to complete the work that was outstanding on those. You're indicating that all of the permits necessary to repair those units have been pulled and that they're ready for the inspection.
There obviously is a disagreement, but in the 20 years that this property manager.
Obviously, what disagreement? Because I don't.
That what permits are required or necessary. We believe that the ones that have been pulled. There is apparently a disagreement as to what is required. There is clearly, in this particular set of circumstances with these units, these buildings, clearly permits are being required that have not traditionally ever been required by, such as.
Your Honor, I have to object. He's
drywall repairs.
not offering actual testimony from anyone, and
He's trying to answer the court's inquiry. So, I mean, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
I.e. drywall repairs. The disputes are numerous because the fly specking that's been taken, that the city has taken with respect to requiring permits, has become onerous, and it's very expensive. It's not, these are not $50 permits. And so it's becoming almost a money grab, not almost, a money grab by the city to require all of these permits for these small repairs that have not traditionally been required.
So what you're telling me is that then the fact that I need a permit, so since we didn't need the permit, we went ahead and did the work.
In some cases, I think that's correct.
Well, let's just deal with 720 and 721. It seems to me what you're telling me is that where we disagreed with the city for the need for a permit, we went in and did the work because we didn't believe that permit was required.
Clarification. We were asked for the inspections to take place in a couple of weeks because we do still have to finish a few things, which would be permit required. So we've not done pulling permits for these last couple of things, these last few things.
Where I was, before I asked the last question, was you said that the work had been completed and that they're ready to be inspected.
Say in a couple of weeks. There's some final things that need to be done, and some of them will require permits. But part of the inspection process, as you know, just probably better than I do, is that sometimes you call for your inspection, and they come out and they say, okay, you've got your 90%, your 95%. These are the 6 ticked items that you need to finish to get your final. And so, to some extent, you're asking for the inspection so that you can A, pass, or B, be given a list of things to complete and get re-inspected. That's where I think we are with 720 and 721.
So what you're saying, let me just rephrase it. We need them to come out and do the inspection so we know what needs to be done so that we can do it and then get the final inspection.
And we think we're close anyway. Yes.
And the city won't do that because,
So, number one, there's a lot of tenant mitigation. However, with these buildings, we went out and inspected with two property, project managers and indicated all of the issues we had that, this was done end of March. Walked through every property.
This is the moment where the judge starts poking holes. If you ever want to know where a case turns, look for when the judge starts repeating someone's claim back to them.
Went through everything, which was a pretty, I mean, the two inspections we're looking at like about 30 pages of still things that need to be done. If we were close on these, it would probably be less than half of that, but there are 24 units per building. We're still seeing, and which we continue to see in all these units, a lot of lack of smoke detectors, a lot of units under construction without permits, some have permits, back fans still not working, that the ceiling is repaired, without permits being pulled, or permits have just been pulled. And so with our report, we do get into some doors and some flooring issue, which are property maintenance issues, but we do have, while we do have a lot of units under construction, we don't dispute that. We still are writing out letters to ensure that the boiler and the buildings are working. We've had a lot of problems with the heat when it's building-wide heat and the fins being damaged and covers missing. And we're waiting on some letters from a boiler saying that the boiler will work properly. We're still seeing leaks in units. We're still seeing ceilings in disrepair. This is in the two buildings they are speaking of. And so I'm not saying they haven't come a long way. They have. But no building permit has been filed. There's still a lot of outstanding plumbing and electrical permits out there.
but it seems to me that with reference to those two buildings and the units that would be with this court, what the landlord's asking is for and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Freeman, they're asking for an inspection to basically give us our checklist of what else we need to do. And then we want to complete that.
Yes, and I believe that I'm looking at the inspections that the city's provided, and the last one was March 25th.
So this building was scheduled for April. They asked us to push it up because they indicated the building was done. When we did that, we gave them the checklist of what needed to be done prior to us coming back up.
Got it.
The checklist that we're looking for is right here.
And the checklist, so are you indicating that's been completed? The March 25th, I think you said?
Could Attorney Deputy Lee Gordon speak? She's been following the code enforcement and permit process throughout this.
Good morning, Your Honor. So I'm
So I guess the answer is yes. Go ahead.
So looking at these two documents that Mr. Mars provided, 720 Green and 720 Clark.
Hold on, Counsel. Need a name and P number.
Deputy Gordon Lehman, P83909.
Thank you.
But it's okay. Looking at these two documents, the one from 720 Green on February 25th, so almost 2 months ago, and the one for 720 is from almost 2 months ago. So although they gave us this checklist, the landlord's contention is that they have worked through this checklist. So we're asking for them to move up the COC reinspection. It's currently scheduled for, I believe, June 6th or 9th? 15th. And so the request has been made to move it up to no later than, I believe, May 5th, because we believe that at that point, these buildings will be ready. The permits, if any, will be pulled. From my understanding, there's finalizing some of the permits with regards to the cost and getting them final. But if the goal here is to get these tenants into nice, new, beautiful buildings that have CFCs.
I don't know that that's the goal, but go ahead.
I mean, that's been the position from my understanding. The city is to get these tenants in buildings that have CFCs. We can't find a reason why, getting them out there to do these inspections when they're at the property almost every day anyway, would be unreasonable. The goal is to get.
So why won't the city go out and just inspect or set the appointment
So,
for 7/20 and 7/21?
so first off, as Mr. Freeman did know, there's substantial costs that the owner has not paid for any of the inspections that we've done out there at this point. And so we do need to see these come in. On top of that, because there's a cost to run, like building permit has to fund itself by state law. And so because they're not paying any of the fees for these inspections, that is concern number one. Concern number two is the time aspect. And just to be clear, while the inspection notice does indicate February 2025, when we were out there on April 2nd to do the inspection of 720 Green, no work had been done from February 25th. Once again, we pulled this building up already to do the work. And until we see the permits pulled and final, there's, in the city's position, going out.
Ah, here it is, the money problem. In housing code cases, unpaid fees are the silent villain. Permits matter, inspections matter, but unpaid fees, they stop everything.
And rescheduling everyone's schedule to do an inspection where permits aren't pulled yet is a concern that we have. Because that would be, it's a lot of time and manpower to go into these buildings and do inspections, 24 units or now 48 units. That takes about a day. And we already have inspections scheduled daily until then.
I'm just saying 7/20 and 7/21. Let's just deal with that.
I mean, it's my understanding that there have been permits pulled, and right now there's been dealing with issues of financial aspect of it, finalizing certain permits. And again, we're asking for the re-inspection to be moved earlier, which is not today.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, and correct me, Mr. Myers, if I'm incorrect in this, they would do that if they saw certain things. They'd move the inspection up. One would be the pulling of the permits, right? That's one thing.
Yeah.
All right? Okay. And then there's this other financial piece, which figure out at some point. But my question on the permits, if that's one criteria, why can't that be done prior to them scheduling?
The information that we have is that it's been the financial aspect. This is the first time I'm hearing from Mr. Myers that there's an issue where.
All right, counsel, what do you mean by financial aspect?
Pay these fines and we will come out at that point, as opposed to.
Fines or the permits?
Or fines. Pay this money owed to the city, and we will consider moving the
Okay, let me ask. Okay, I hear you. So is there a way regarding whatever these other costs to attribute a certain portion of that to these buildings?
Certainly we have, that we're having.
That's my question.
Yeah.
I need an answer to my question. Because what council's indicating to me is that there are these fines and other costs outside of the permits, right?
Right.
And what I'm saying, how many buildings are out there? 10, was it?
At the property, 18.
8. Okay, so whatever that bid figure is there a way of taking 1/19 and 1/18 per building at this point, saying, or 2/18, so coming up with some figure that this is what would need to be paid at this point, and then we can set the inspection?
We are willing to work under what the court would like us to do. We are willing to talk to them. Our number one concern is getting the permits pulled, and I know that you already said that. As far as the fees go, no building can have any fees owed before a permit certificate is issued. And so, because we have done many inspections out there and not received any funding, any of the money for those inspections, that would have to be paid at least, but
At least what?
at least the money for all the inspections and the outstanding fines for occupying without a certificate prior to a re-inspection.
All right, so that I'm clear, at least in terms of what you said. They would need to pay for the permits to do the work, and then whatever fees or these other costs for 720 and 721 would need to be paid.
We would prefer actually all of the fines be paid, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, then can somebody answer my question? If everybody understands what I'm saying, sometimes I talk too like complicated. All I'm trying to say is if there are 18, 19 buildings, there would be a number of different ways of doing that. Either you can attribute it to each building, and I can say, this is what's coming from this building. Or I can just say, I'm not sure what's coming from the building, but some of it's in the aggregate, some of it's this, and then I take that big number and I just divide it by 18.
We can attribute it to each building. We can.
Okay, so do they know how much these other fees and fines and costs are for 720 and 721?
I would have to say yes, because they get all the same.
Okay, so, okay, I know what you're gonna say. Counsel?
We don't have that exact number. It could be total. At this point, we've just been instructed.
I could say that it might just simply be simpler to do 2/18 to get it done.
I think I said that like 15 minutes ago.
You did, didn't you?
It's also our,
God, it's hard being brilliant like me. Anyway, go ahead, Roger.
it's also our understanding, Your Honor, that kind of breakdown information has been requested from the city manager as of last week, and the property manager was told that they would get back to them. So
Of what type of breakdown?
regarding the fines associated with the buildings.
With each building? Or overall?
Everything broken down per building. And the information we have is that we would get back with you. And we don't have that information as of today.
That is correct. The owner, Judge, just be very, the owner, or the manager has requested several reports from the city constantly. When they have full access to all the information we have online. And so while our staff is very small, and we are trying to do a lot with a little, it does take time for us to run these reports.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying, folks. I realize all of this is difficult. All of these folks that have had to move, there's been a difficulty and painful for everyone. If you give me the numbers, I'll do the math. I'm not going to say it's going to be right on the other end, but I'll do the math. That's why I became a lawyer, so I didn't have to, but I can add, I think. I'm just saying, can't you come up with a number how fast can you come up with that number and give it to them?
I mean,
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out why that takes so long.
because the system that we use has a glitch that is being fixed on this update, and so I cannot run an Excel report. So it would have to be gone through manually, like they could do as well, to add up all of these numbers for all those buildings. And even with these.
No.
Here's your cliffhanger. Everyone wants numbers, but nobody has numbers. And in court, missing numbers stall everything. Buildings, tenants, and deadlines. So what happens next? That's the suspense the judge is pushing on.
No. I'm just saying for these two buildings.
Yes, no, and I'm saying, I can assure you, at the end of the week, but realistically, it would be me and who's an audience actually doing this, because once again.
Okay, so hold on. Somewhere there are these, let me just take set for these buildings, for these two. Somewhere there are these fees that are attributable to this building. They would be categorized by something that is attributable to 720 or 721, right?
Yes.
Are you telling me those aren't all in one spot?
So the way the city system works is, it is all within a system called BSNA. when they did their April update, it locked us out of running Excel reports. And I asked them to fix that, and we're hoping that fix is done by the second update.
Okay, then if that's the case, then how can I be here saying, and you're requesting two things from them to accomplish this task, but one of them you can't give to them?
So the city has sent them all of the invoices for all of these. So it's not like the city's not sent them the invoices. They received every invoice for all of these inspections and fees. And so because they have received all of the same documentation, they get this paper.
Somebody should be able to give me a number. It's crazy. This just doesn't even make any sense to me.
Part of the issue as well is the city is saying that there's late fees associated with some of these. And so that would be something that they would have, but we don't have that number. So we
don't have what number?
Whatever the late fees, the city intends on charging for any of these fines. And so in order to get a proper number regarding what it would take to get any of these buildings or the two buildings, that number would have to come from the city, which is why it was requested from the city.
For God's sakes, folks. Then what's the principal amount without the late fees? How do you not have that number? I mean, you just told me that it's the late fees that cause the problem.
Your Honor, if I understand correctly, it sounds like this is publicly available information, so I don't understand what's preventing gathering it.
Everybody is just causing a problem, it seems to be here. Because the reality is there's a number somewhere out there. Counsel, I know that you computed a number because you would have had to give that risk assessment to your client. I'm not asking for what you talked about with your client. I'm just saying you have a ballpark figure of what it is. You just told me you're waiting on what those late fees are. It seems everybody is delaying for the purpose of just delaying.
The city has issued 750 violations, so it would involve.
So how long is it going to take you to add up 750 numbers? I'm going to step off the bench. Somebody, and I'm going to come back and somebody give me a number for these two buildings. I don't care if the two of you come to different numbers, then I'll figure it out. But somebody give me a number for these two buildings, for that part of it. And then in terms of the permits, do you know what the cost of the permits are that you have to do?
Look at that number as well.
Okay, I'm gonna stand in recess. Somebody get me a number.
You're okay for a second? Different matter.